All right, so in this lesson, we're going to be starting to talk about the equations of lines. So you guys talked about equations of lines a lot in algebra, but we're going to talk about them again. So if we remember, y equals mx plus b is the equation of a line. Now this equation specifically, if you remember, is called the slope-intercept form. Form of a line, right? Where so m represents the slope and b represents the y-intercept. And x is obviously your x-coordinate and y is your y-coordinate. All right. So let's take a look at exercise 1. We're going to kind of like do a quick little algebra review, whatever. So without the use of our calculator, we want to identify the slope and the y-intercept of each of the following lines. Okay. And then we want to plot them on the grid. So let's take a look at this one. So this one is y equals 2x minus 7. So the slope is in front of the x. So the slope of this one is 2. Okay. And your b, or your y-intercept, whatever you want to call it, is negative 7. Okay. And you want to be sure to take that sign with you. Right. So slope is 2 and your y-intercept is negative 7. Now let's look at this one. So here we have y equals negative 1 over 2 x plus 3. So your slope is negative 1 over 2. Your b is 3. All right. So now let's plot them. So let's plot this one first. So we're starting at negative 7. That's where our y-intercept. So that's where the graph crosses the y-axis. So 1, 2, 3. Okay. Now our slope is 2, so we go up 2 and over 1. So starting at negative 7, we're going up 2 and over 1. Up 2 over 1. Up 2 over 1. All right, so let's draw on our line. So we have y is equal to 2x minus 7. All right, now let's graph this one. So our y-intercept is positive 3. Now our slope is negative 1 over 2. So we're going down 1 and over 2. Down 1 and over 2. Down 1 and over 2. Okay, so this one is y is equal to negative 1 over 2 plus 3. Okay. Now we want to figure out what the solution to the equation 2x minus 7 is equal to negative 1 over 2x plus 3y. All right. Let's solve this algebraically. Let's solve this algebraically. So we have 2x minus 7 is equal to negative 1/2 x plus 3. So we're going to add 1/2 x to both sides plus 7. So we get 2.5x is equal to 10 divided by 2.5. So x is equal to 4. Now, when x is equal to 4, this is where these two lines cross. Okay. All right. So let's look at the next exercise. Exercise 2. So two very important but simple lines are the lines y is equal to x and y is equal to negative x. And they're asking us what the slope of these lines are. All right, so even though there's no number in front of the x and the negative x, there's that imaginary number, which is 1, right? So when y is equal to x, this slope of this line is going to be a positive 1. and the slope of this one is going to be -1. Okay. Now we're going to write some obvious coordinate pairs that lie on both lines. So when y is equal to x, your x and y coordinate are going to be the same. So we have 0, 0 is one coordinate point. 1, 1 is another coordinate point. 2, 2, and then we have -4, -4. It's another one. All right. Now when y is equal to -x, we have -4, 4. We have -5, 5. And -6, 6. And 0, 0 is also on this line. Okay. Now we want to create a graph of the lines on the grid. Okay, so let's first plot y is equal to x. So when y is equal to x, our x and y coordinate are the same. So it's just going to be kind of a diagonal line, right? We have a slope of 1, so up 1 over 1, up 1 over 1, up 1 over 1, up 1 over 1. It kind of goes the same here. Okay, so let's graph that. Okay. Now this one, same thing. This one has a slope of -1. So we'll start at the origin. So down 1 over 1. Okay. All right. All right, let's go on to the next page. All right, so you're not always going to be seeing lines written in the form y equals mx plus b originally or initially. So sometimes we'll need to do some simple manipulation to get our equation into y equals mx plus b form. Okay, so let's do some examples. So starting at letter A, we need to get this equation into y equals mx plus b. So essentially we need to get y equal to itself. So all I think we have to do is subtract 2x from both sides. So we get y is equal to -2x plus 7. Okay. And they also want us to identify the slope and y-intercept. So the slope is equal to -2 and the b or y-intercept is equal to 7. Okay. Let's look at b. So we have 2x plus 3y is equal to 12. So let's get this into y equals mx plus b. So first, let's subtract the 2x. So we have 3y is equal to -2x plus 12. Okay. Now we're going to divide by 3 by everything. So we're going to do 3y divided by 3, -2x divided by 3, and 12 divided by 3. Okay. So we get y is equal to -2 over 3x plus 4. Okay. Now our slope is equal to -2 over 3, and our b is equal to 4. All right. All right. I'm going to let you guys do number C, letter C. Okay. Now let's go on to exercise 4 and look at this one. So on the grid below, the line S is graphed as well as the point 2, 4. Draw a line parallel to S that passes through 2, 4, and you want to write the equation of the line below. So when two lines are parallel, remember they have the same slopes. Okay. So let's first find the slope of S. Now we can just find 2 points that are on the line. Okay. So it looks like the slope is 1, 2, 3, 4. So over 4. And then down 2. Remember, it's negative because it's going down from left to right. So our slope is -1, 2. And since we want a line parallel to S, we're going to use this slope here. Okay. Now we need to find the y-intercept, right? Our equation of our line is y equals mx plus b. Now we have our slope, which is negative 1/2. Now we need to find our y-intercept. So there's a couple ways we could do this, but I'm going to do it graphically. So starting at the point 2, 4, let's go over 2 and up 1. We're going to go in this direction. So over 2 and up 1. Okay. Okay. Now it looks like the graph crosses the y-axis at 5. So that's going to be our y-intercept. Now, like I said, there's a couple of ways we could have done this. We could have also done this algebraically. Since we know that the slope is this, to find the y-intercept, we could take our x and y coordinates and we can plug them in to our equation here. Okay, so we could do 4 is equal to negative 1/2 times 2 plus b. So we get 4 is equal to negative 1 plus b, add 1, so we get 5 is equal to b. So that's another way that we could have found the y-intercept. So we could do this both graphically and algebraically. Okay. So now we want to draw a line perpendicular to S that passes through 2, 4. So perpendicular lines, remember, have slopes that are negative reciprocals. Okay. Now the slope that is perpendicular to line S is the negative reciprocal of negative 1/2. So the negative reciprocal of negative 1/2 is 2. Okay. Now, a couple ways, again, we could do this. Let's do this graphically to find the y-intercept. All right, so starting at 2, 4, we're going to go down 2 and over 1. Now, remember, this has a positive slope. Okay. Okay. Now, it looks like the graph crosses the y-axis at 0, 0. Okay, so our y-intercept is going to be 0. So our equation of our line here is this. Now, we don't really need the 0. You can write it, but we can also write it like this. That's fine too. All right. All right, so let's look at exercise 5. So which of the following lines is perpendicular to this line right here? Now, before we can even answer this question, we have to solve for y. Our equation has to be in slope-intercept form. Okay. So first of all, we have to solve for y. So let's solve for y. So we have 6y is equal to negative 10x plus 12. So we have y is equal to negative 5 over 3x plus 2. Okay. Now, when we're answering these questions, our y-intercept doesn't really matter. What matters is our slope. Okay, that's the one we really want to look at. Now, we want a line perpendicular to this. And remember, perpendicular lines have slopes that are negative reciprocals of each other. Okay, now the slope of this line is negative 5 over 3. So the slope perpendicular to this, or the negative reciprocal of negative 5 over 3, is 3 over 5. Okay, now it's positive, okay, so we don't want a negative slope. Now looking at these two, looking at choices 1 and 2, this one is the same slope as this original line, so we can cross that one out. Now this one is 5 over 3. Again, not the same, but we want 3 over 5. This one's negative, and our slope that we want is positive. So we cross that one out. So our choice is 4.